In part one of our Prescribed Fire series, we're giving an intro to burning. Why do we burn and what does it accomplish? How does it impact the habitat and how does it benefit wildlife?
Mossy Oak Properties, where outdoorsmen find their favorite place.
Of the many tools in the management toolbox that landowners have access to, I think controlled burning or prescribed fire is potentially maybe the most effective, but it's also the one I think most people are most unsure of, or they don't know a lot about.
Yeah, you said many tools. What are those tools? There's chainsawing, there's brush hogging, disking, herbicide, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
But controlled burning, you're right. It is so effective. It creates life, even though you're burning it.
It sounds counterproductive. Yeah, you light something on fire and you take 2 steps back for many steps forward. That's a good way to put it, but you know, the benefits of a controlled burn are long and significant.
Oh, absolutely. It's some of the best properties we've stepped foot on, managed. You know, with chainsaw and fire, you can produce so many tons of food on the landscape and create so much diversity with wildflowers, if it's pollinators, warm season grasses, even woodland habitats.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of do it correctly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's called controlled burning for a reason. Right, and in this series of videos we're going to talk about PPE, gear, equipment, like how to go about doing it. But in this first video, this intro to burning, I think first we need to really answer, why do we burn?
Yeah,
why would we burn a section of habitat and what would that accomplish? How would it affect that piece of habitat and how are the wildlife going to respond to the fire?
Yep, absolutely. And a lot of burning right now seems to be a fad. A lot of people are burning, but you got it if you do decide to do a controlled burn on your property, management wise, you got to have a reason and you got to go back and see if the results that you did happened.
Yeah, and I look at burning kind of like an alarm clock for the native seed bank and for the soil. You know, a lot of times we've removed fire from the landscape and over the course of history, fire was a natural disturbance and we've removed that. So a lot of habitats rely on fire and a lot of these habitats have since gone dormant.
Yeah.
So that when you burn an area and you run fire through it, it kind of wakes that area up. And
absolutely.
It helps with germination of seeds, it reinvigorates the soil, it wakes that area up with new plant life, new growth, new life.
Yeah, you touched on it all. Yeah, it adds diversity. We've said that before, but like an old field environment, you run a fire through that. I mean, it sets back the non-desirables and it increases the desirables. So one that respond, our native vegetation throughout most of the country is made for fire.
Oh yeah.
You know, your goldenrod, ragweed, all those beneficial weeds that wildlife utilize. Again, fire is a great way, inexpensive way to get things done instead of using herbicide and etc.
Absolutely. Burning is, like I said, it's cheap, it's effective, and the benefits are significant. And as the habitat responds to the fire, the wildlife responds to the habitat.
Oh, I like that.
Did you like that?
I did like that.
I liked it too. I thought it was pretty good. But it's exactly that. It's kind of a chain of events. You know, you run a fire, you get that native plant response, and then, you know, our wildlife have evolved with and they benefit and they thrive with native vegetation. And if fire is a type of disturbance, just like disking, just like chainsawing or logging, you know, it creates that disturbance and you create more food and more cover for wildlife, more pounds per food per acre for white-tailed deer, more nesting opportunities for turkeys and ground nesting birds, more fawning cover for fawns during the fawning season, more escape cover for all wildlife species.
You're regenerating like an old field. You're just waking it back up.
Yeah.
And no matter what species that you're trying to managing for, fire usually benefits all species that you just covered, the fawns, the non-game birds, non-game community.
Right.
And I'm not just talking birds, I'm talking about other, the creepy crawly things that we don't like, you know, snakes, etc. Yeah, the you mentioned pounds of food per acre. If a fire is done correctly, we can produce, like in an old field environment, close to 3,000 pounds of food per acre.
Yeah.
And it's all free. It's all free. It didn't cost you a dime.
Absolutely.
High protein stuff like pokeweed, 32%.
Yeah.
Beggar's lice, that little triangular seed that gets all over our fleece. It's roughly in the high 20s.
Ragweed makes you sneeze.
Yeah,
Close to
18.
20%.
Yeah, 820, etc. Goldenrod, 16, and all a deer needs is 16% protein.
Right.
All this stuff that can be created by using a controlled burn.
Right, absolutely. Our habitats often need and have evolved with disturbance. They need intervention, they need management, and a prescribed fire, a controlled burn is one of those tools like we were talking about. As you manage different parts and different habitat types on your property, you know, they're over time, if left unmanaged, they're going to degrade.
Yes.
And I like that analogy at the beginning that it's like an alarm clock. Once an area, and you'll have to keep an eye out and evaluate how wildlife are using your property, but prescribed fire is one of those opportunities to just reinvigorate life on a part of your property that may need a little bit of a facelift. And of course, we talked about how it benefits game species like deer and turkeys, ruffed grouse, quail, but also songbirds. Also, your butterfly species are going to, pollinators are going to respond really well to a fire as well. Whatever wildlife you're most enthusiastic about, whether you're a hunter and you like to pursue game, or you're a naturalist and like to observe from afar, or photography, or a birder, you know, you have a type of old field environment or a pollinator patch. Of fire is that alarm clock or that facelift, however you want to look at it. It can give that area just a breath of fresh air and new life.
Yeah. Now that we got you excited to use this brand new tool that was, you didn't realize it was in your toolbox, there's one step that you need to take, and that is to check your local fire restrictions. And how you can go about that is go to your division of forestry, call your local fire department. Each state is different. Sometimes you can. There are regulations. Some states have where you can't burn at all. And there's other ways to go about that, and we're going to teach you all about that as we go along. But check your local regulations if you are allowed to even burn.
Absolutely. And if you are allowed, which we hope that you are, this first video was just to give you an intro, to highlight some of the benefits, and more than anything, just to get you to feel good about it and inspire you to make use of this effective management tool.
Mossy Oak Properties, where outdoorsmen find their favorite place.